We're proud to welcome Munir Fasheh as one of this year's keynote guests. Munir is a mathematician who chose to leave academia to explore new ways of understanding and practicing learning. Together with others, he founded an organization, Tamil Institute, that rethinks education as a tool for liberation. I hate the word education, I'm sorry that I used it. He summarizes his life with two words, occupation and return. Munir was among the first group of refugees in the modern Middle East when, in 1948, as a Palestinian, he and his family lost both their house and their land. Even the mathematics in his home was occupied, replaced by the logic of schools and universities, influenced by Western philosophers such as Bertrand Russell. For Munir, knowledge became a form of return, not yet to land at home, but to himself. In the Arabic language, he discovered liberating perspectives, such as al-muthanna, the dual form that breaks down the binary between I and you. Another key concept for him is mujaawarah, to be a neighbor, a way of learning through stories, relationships, and community, rather than through abstract theories. And in his keynote now, he will talk to us about those concepts and more. I'm waiting for this talk. I have been waiting for it for many months. So please welcome me all and welcome Munir to the stage.
So I'll speak on this or this? Yeah. Is this on? Or yeah. I'm really very, very happy to be in a European country for the first time, not the first time in my life, but for the first time after the Gaza miracle, because I think it is a miracle. We don't have a state, but actually Palestine is the most known state in the world today. Everybody talks about it. So we don't have the normal statehood, but this is actually also a source. Palestine has always been a source of amazing things. Of course, you all know Christ, but Jesus of Nazareth is completely different from the Jesus I met in Europe or in the United States. It is amazing. And to me, corruption of humanity started with Europe corrupting the Palestinian Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian, so I'm not talking about... I'm a Christian, a very special Christian, in the sense that I was born in Jerusalem. My family most probably, they became Christian when Jesus was still walking on the land of Palestine, because there was no conversion. Only the conversion came when the the American missionaries started coming to Palestine to preach us about Jesus. I mean, can you imagine something worse than somebody coming from Milwaukee to Jerusalem to really preach us about Jesus? It's like me going to China to tell them about who Confucius is, you know. But this is the absurdity of today's world, and this absurdity stems from not being able to read reality, which is not made of institutions. Reality that is made of what was created through creation. Having people together is part of creation. Nature is part of creation. Learning is part of creation, not education. Education is not part of creation. The harmony is part of creation. So the thing here is my schooling started with the British education. I mean, just one example. Exactly 70 years ago, in 1955. Oh, sorry. I want to face people are more important than this. So this is the book that came from London in 1955. I was in 9th grade, and we studied in it mathematics. And one of the chapters, just as an example, this shares and stocks. Now I was 14 years old, and I was studying shares and stocks. Up till now, I never owned a share. I don't know what a stock means. But this is the funny thing. I made hundreds on all the tests on this chapter in shares and stocks, which means I didn't have to understand to really get 100. I didn't. I never really lived with it. So there was no meaning, no context, no connection, no anything with this chapter and the other chapters. But this is the most amazing. Up till now, I don't understand anything that I really did. But this is what we have to fight. That is, I was defeated with this book first, not but by an army and not by anything else. It is textbooks. The language of textbooks to me is the biggest evil. It is the tool by which I was invaded in my mind when I was in 1st grade, starting with 1st grade. So all these words that are actually are meaningless, not only meaningless, I call them later, of course, I called them plastic words, because I saw the relationship between these words and plastic flowers. Now, plastic flowers, if you put them underneath your bed, they stay the same. You put them in the refrigerator, they are the same. You take them in summer, they are the same. So they don't change. Now, the textbook language, wherever you take it, it's the same. In Jordan, Jordan and Palestine, geographically, we have at least 10 different ways of geographic conditions. But wherever you are, you read the same books in schools. And you read the same curricula in academic books. So this is really strange how this is the case. Let me give you another example from the university level. Courses that I studied and some of which I taught. Differential equations, introduction to linear algebra, mathematical statistics, complex variables, discrete mathematics, topics in algebra, numerical analysis, theory of numbers, topology, probability. And when I took these courses and others, and I taught some of them, I was called or labeled as intelligent. I still don't, of course at the time I was happy, because somehow I was made to believe that there are some people who are ignorant, they don't know what the real world is, but they were labeling me as intelligent, and I really thought that they are superior intellectually and morally. And mostly they were either foreigners or who studied in foreign countries. So the question here is, I found myself later a hypocrite. I was a hypocrite. In what sense I am a hypocrite? In the sense that I was saying things and I was teaching my students about things without ever used these things. These courses, I never used them. I don't know what they mean. They were not part of my life. They were not part of my daily understanding. So I was a hypocrite. They should really give us, as university graduates, a certificate of hypocrisy, in addition to whatever you know in technical knowledge. We need technical knowledge. I'm not saying we don't need it. But what I'm saying is we cannot teach anymore without meaning. We cannot teach anymore without context, without action. These are the three things that are part of creation. But we don't care about meaning. As I said, all these courses and the stocks and all of that. So hypocrisy is an enemy. And actually, I don't know if it ever really, only recently that I'm using this term and this awareness. And the person who really taught me that I am hypocritical was my mother. My mother, who is called ignorant, illiterate. So it is what she doesn't have. She didn't know alphabet, but she knew reality. Everything she did, she never said a word that she did not know its meaning. She did not use a word that she doesn't have a referent, that this is what I mean, but not through her words, through her actions. The math that I was 35 years old. I lived with her 35 years without noticing that what she was doing was mathematics that I cannot understand or do. This is a big, big thing. I was at the top of my career as a mathematics educator, and then I discovered that my mother, who doesn't know how to write her name, deals with mathematics in a way that is amazing. A piece of cloth in the morning that a woman brings to the house becomes in 2 days about 30 small pieces around, but in her imagination she knows where every piece fits. She doesn't write, this is the shoulder and this is, it's all within her imagination with the picture that she has. So her math starts with her fingers, not with her mind. With her fingers, with a needle, with a thread, with her eyes, with her imagination, with her mind, with a piece of cloth, with the body of the woman. I mean, what is more? This is a mixture, an amazing mixture. So for her, math is not pure math. Her math was a mixture of all these things in harmony. I took so many courses. There was no harmony even among the courses. You finish it, you tear the book. I'm glad I never tore this book, but just to show it to people that this is a concrete example of what I went through as a hypocrite. Not as a mathematician, as a hypocrite. So, but my tool was mathematics. So my mother was a big shock. As I said, I was 35 years old. I was teaching in 2 universities, Birzeit and Bethlehem, and I was in charge of math education in the schools of the West Bank. What is more? So I was scared to tell people that my mother knows math that I cannot understand, I cannot do. It took me several years to have the courage. It's not easy. I started using that fact that there is math that cannot be taught, but can be learned. And this is the difference, I think, between my math that is completely depends on studying books, academic books, evaluation, all these things, certificates, graduation, and all of that. So that was studying. My mother was learning. And I say this is happening also in Gaza. In Gaza, the difference between the Israeli soldiers and officers and the Palestinian youth, the officers studied. The youth, the Gazan youth, learned. For 75 years, they were learning. Accumulation. One war after another war against them, after another tearing apart society, etc., etc. They learned the Israelis could not defeat real learners through their study. So here we have really to start rethinking the whole process, and don't use words like emancipatory education, critical education, all these things, because the problem is not in the adverb, but in education. There is no word in Arabic which is synonym to education. We use ta'lim, but this is not true at all. Ta'lim in Arabic means teaching. And teaching and education, there is a lot of teaching without institutions, without curriculum. So when the Arabs in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights put ta'lim as synonym to education, either out of ignorance or out of being hypocrites, that, whatever they come, whoever comes with a word, without rethinking, without putting some effort, without reflecting on what's happening in real life, they accepted ta'lim as synonym, but it is not a synonym. And we all, in the Arab world, talk about the right education. I say even the word is wrong that we use, and we have to rethink. But again, we are completely follow this path, and basically we normalize, and this is to me the worst thing, we normalize academically with the Euro-American tribe. The reason I use tribe, because really to break away this idea of universality, because the West always presented itself as universal. Their ideas are universal, their theories are universal, their meanings are universal, etc. Even their Christ is universal, which has nothing to do with the Palestinian Christ. I lived in my home and I grew up in my home. I was born in 1941.